This intro is some of the figures Flipbook.
Please go to the top of your notebook paper and please write similar figures Flipbook. I don't have room at the top, so I'm writing mine down. Similar figures Flipbook. This is page 52. There are 4 types of questions that could be asked of you with similar figures, okay? This flipbook covers all 4 of them. The types are clearly identified on the front of the flipbook, and when you open it up, there's practice questions, okay? First, you might be asked to take some similar figures and find the missing angles or side measures. Well, if you remember from yesterday, we said that in similar figures, the angles are what to each other? They're congruent. The sides are what to each other? Starts with a P.
Perpendicular.
Proportional. They are proportional. Make a note. If you're looking at your paper, you can see it says congruent angles. Hold on, I'm trying to fix this. It says congruent angles, proportional sides. Right? This means that in this picture, angle A would be congruent to what? Angle, look at the picture. Oh,
G.
And how do you know that?
Because they're
Because of the arc, right?
So why
Angle A is congruent to angle G.
Why do they flip the shape?
To confuse you. Angle B is congruent to angle what?
H.
B is congruent to H. They are the only ones not marked, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Angle C is congruent to angle F. It's right small.
Do you have to put the equals in this thing?
Yes. You have to put the equals and then the tilde above it, because that means congruent.
What does it look like?
Now the sides are proportional. Side AB, notice if I trace A to B, I go from the one arc to no arc. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So go to the other triangle, go from one arc to no arc. What would it be?
G to H.
G to H. Abby, you with me? Join me. All right, if I trace from B to C, that's no arc to 2 arcs. So what would it be in the other one? B to C, no arcs to 2. It would be H to F. B to C is H to F.
Hold on.
A, B,
I'm
G, H.
confused because I wrote this all wrong.
Well,
Like I wrote it wrong.
I think you're supposed to copy what's on the
Well,
board.
Ryan, I didn't ask for your opinion. Love you, man.
All right, now trace C to A. 2
Uh,
arcs to 1 arc.
F
It
to
would be
G.
F to G.
Amen.
Now, can you tell me what the scale factor is here?
It's
1.5.
1.5.
Oh, you're right. He goes,
I know.
come down to this section. I may ask you to tell me the scale factor of between 2 shapes. This means that one of them was dilated to form the other one, which means one of them got multiplied by some number to form the other one, right? Okay, so if I say find the scale factor then you need to find two sides that link up, that correspond, and then look at how did I go from this number to that number to determine the scale factor. Now, in this particular case, they are not telling us what direction to go. It just says find the scale factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to identify this as this one as the pre-image. The small one is the pre-image,
Oh,
which means
shucks.
it's getting what?
Bigger.
Bigger. So it's an enlargement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means your scale factor needs to be what in terms of 1?
Bigger than 1.
Bigger than 1.
So we're gonna go 5 over 7.5
What did you do?
equals a 6 1.
Oh.
So how many? Okay, so we do 45. 45 is equal to.
All right.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You just narrated.
He's like 45, 7.5.
Where did you get 45?
So Mark.
Okay, I've got to move all of these up for me to fit because this has jumped off the screen. So hold on a second.
I just
Let me move it all up.
Well, going up.
Oh, it's gonna get slow.
on 2.
Okay, now let me come back to this. So we're gonna find the scale factor.
No, yeah.
Go back up here. You just found 3 fractions. That's the same picture. You see your 3 fractions that you just found?
Yeah.
So just pick one of them and find the 2 numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
So if we're gonna compare, now we're getting bigger, right? Do you agree? Okay, so AB is the bigger one.
Yeah, I've done it, yeah.
If you do AB over GH, what's the side length of AB?
7.5.
AB
I
is
switched
7.5.
I thought it was getting bigger into the small.
What's GH?
5.
GH is 5.
And then I'm done.
I want you to make a note. Go to your calculator. 7.5 divided by 5 is
I did.
1.5.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you go to your calculator. I'm going to make a note.
Oh,
Go
you
to our calculator.
it?
So the scale factor is 1.5. Right here. I'm going to say equals K. So K is 1.5. That's the scale factor. Please put this somewhere on your, probably going to have to go on your notebook paper. Asterisk,
Yeah.
arrange the scale factor fraction with what's happening.
I have a question.
Hold on. You're going to arrange the scale factor fraction with what's happening. Here's what I mean by that. Look at the picture and ask yourself, is it getting larger or is it shrinking? If it's getting larger, your larger number needs to be on top. Where's your notebook paper? If you're getting larger, then you're going to put the larger number on top. You're going to glue it to the paper and then you're going to put it in your notebook. Okay? If it's getting smaller, you would do what with the numbers? You would flip them and put the smaller number on top. The biggest question is, how do you know how to divide it? Because if you divide in one way, you get one number. If you divide the other way, you get a different number.
I thought it was multiply it.
What?
If you're finding the scale factor, you will be dividing. When you are dilating the shape, you just multiply. Whatever is happening needs to be represented with the number in the top of the fraction. Y'all with me?
No.
Okay, yes.
You might have already said it, but how do you determine if it doesn't say it? How do you determine which one's the pre-image and which one's the?
It'll say it. If not, then I would accept both answers.
Okay.
If it says it, there's only one right answer.
Right.
If it does not say it, I would take either answer. Most of the time it says it though, because you do need to know.
Yeah, because I was asking because
Because if it was shrinking, somebody do 5 divided by 7.5 in your calculator.
Oh, we leave at 55, don't we?
Hang on.
0.762.
What?
5 divided by 7.
Is that really it?
5 is 0.6.
So if it was shrinking, the scale factor would be 0.6 repeating, which would be a fraction. Hit math frac. Math and then frac.
Where's frac?
2/3.
Yeah, that's
Thanks,
just,
Joey.
That's just nil math.
Right here. Math. That's the very first one.
Oh. I'm
Then
looking
hit
for-
enter. So the
Okay.
fraction will be 2/3. If it's enlarging, the fraction is 1.5, which is 3/2. Look at the next one. Are these polygons similar? So so let's refresh. Here, I gave them to you and I said either find the angles or find the proportional sides. We talked about how these are the similarity statements. Here, find the scale factor. Here, I'm giving you 2 triangles and you're determining yes or no if they are similar. There's more to check here. You have to check and see if all of the angles are congruent, and you have to check and see if all of the sides are proportional. So, you might want to make a note that there's 2 things to check here. Y'all with me?
Mhm.
You have to check all of the angles and make sure that they correspond. So, angle A is congruent to what?
G.
Okay, so A is congruent to G. That marks one angle congruent. Angle C is congruent to what?
F.
C is congruent to F.
So B is congruent to 8.
How many degrees are in every triangle?
1.
180. If 2 angles are congruent, by default, the third angle has to be what?
180 minus 14.
The congruent angle as well. Okay? So angle B would have to be congruent to angle H as well. So are all the angles congruent?
Yeah.
Yes. Now you have to check all the sides. You have to divide every single one of them and make sure it's the same scale factor. Okay?
Mhm.
Doesn't matter how you do this part, as long as you're consistent all the way around. So if you divide 7.5, go to your calculator.
I think it's consistent.
Well, yeah, it's the same picture. Y'all notice it's the same picture so that
They're all.
but I want every single person to pick your calculator up and type this in. I don't want you sitting there like a pet rock or trying to be a car just because you're hanging out in the garage. Look, we're going to divide them. Doesn't matter how you divide it as long as you're consistent. If I divide 7.5, if I pick it, I have to go over here and pick what? Careful. Look at what it came from. It came from the check and the 1. I'd have to divide it by the 5, right?
Yeah. 5.
Leave it. Now go to the next one. If I pick 6, I have to divide it with what?
4.
The 4. Leave it. Now pick the last one. 9 has to be divided by 6.
That's good.
Do all 3 of them come to the same answer?
Yes.
That means they are all proportional. So here, yes. If you know corresponding angles are congruent, corresponding sides are proportional. Then you can say, yes, they are similar, and now you can write a similarity statement. Writing the similarity statement, you have to trace the triangle in the same order on both of them. So if I call the first one ABC, right? If I call the first one ABC, what do I have to call the second one?
G.
If I go A to B to C, it helps to visualize
GHS.
tracing it. If I go A to B to C, look at it. I went one arc to check to two arcs. I have to go G to H to F. That matters. On the quiz tomorrow, if you switch the letters, you're going to get it wrong. Order matters in how you write the letters, okay? And the very last type of question is what you have already been doing. It's where you have to set up a proportion and solve it. So, look at this right here. Find x, because clearly we want to solve for x. X compares to what? It's a double arc and nothing. So what would it compare to?
9.
9. As, now come over here, pick one.
12 and 5.
No.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
6.
yes,
Yeah, 12 and
it's,
6.
there you go. 6 comes from the two arcs, so you have to do 12. Now cross multiply, so that's 12x equals 54. 54 divided by 12 is 4.5.
I wrote it wrong.
54 divided by 12.
Wait, I thought it was.
Isn't it?
No, it's 12 over 6, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 9.
Yeah.
Are we going bigger to small or small to big?
Well, I did x
No, that's right.
to 9, so I have to do 6 to 12.
Yeah.
Now, if you went the other way, then you would have to switch your second fraction. There will be a Delta Math assignment posted for you to practice. It's due before you come to class tomorrow. Make sure to get it done in Flex if you don't finish it tonight at home.
Did